Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. The series What If Transmigrated into One Piece and became a Marine will be going on hold soon, since we're nearly at the end of the story. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if creating the strongest Strawhat crew by reading manga? What if a venerated soul reincarnated in Danmachi world? What if transmigrated and taking over Ichigo's body? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 226, Person with Flaw, Part 2. Edward POV. As the sun rose, the true beauty of the villa by the sea cliff was finally unveiled. The shimmering sea mirrored the breathtaking view, accentuating the pristine white exterior walls and the small garden surrounding the house. However, all of this went without my witness. Inside the room, my stomach was growling when I woke up in the morning with disappointment. "There's nothing here," I mumbled as I recounted my memory and found out that there was nothing inside the fridge. Slowly, I slid down the mattress, wore a slipper, and went to the dryer to get yesterday's clothes. I had already cleaned it all up and wore them again before wearing a gray hoodie too. Just as I was preparing to leave, Haley, still groggy, stumbled into the living room and blocked my path. "Where are you going?" she asked with a yawn, her hair disheveled. I smiled and replied, "I'm going to the store to get some food." Her sleepiness vanished instantly, and her face lit up. "I want to go too." "What about school?" "Your mom will be upset if you don't go," I said, trying to reason with her. Haley then held a finger to my face and called out, "Hold on a moment. Robin, can you assist me?" "Hello, Miss Haley. How can I help you?" Robin responded. "Play the sounds of a school hallway and make it so that the bell will ring in 2 minutes," Haley instructed. "What are you?" "Oh, that's pretty impressive," I said with amazement as I crossed my arms and leaned sideways on the wall. Haley smirked and then called her mother. Claire picked it up instantly and reprimanded, "Haley, I've been calling you for an hour. Are you at school yet? Or did you play hooky again?" Haley rolled her eyes in a way that impressed me and retorted, "Of course, I'm playing hooky, Mom. I'm at the mall with Ed. I didn't even put my books in my locker." She hinted at me with her eyes, and I helped out. "Robin, insert the sound of the locker closing." Kerblam! Robin played the sound, which made Claire hesitate as she heard it. With the sounds of students chattering and the locker's sound, Claire was already slightly convinced that Haley was at school. "Why haven't you answered your phone, then?" Claire asked with a calmer tone, still suspicious. "It was on silent mode. I put it there when I was taking care of Vanessa. And by the way, Ed told me he asked you to come, but you tricked me into doing it instead." "Oh, honey, I have to go. I need to speak with Luke's teacher." "Love you, sweetie. Bye." Claire replied dismissively and abruptly ended the call after being called out. Haley smirked triumphantly, looking at me as if to ask, "How was my performance? Can I win an Oscar yet?" "Perhaps not just yet, but I have no doubt that you'll win one in a few years," I chuckled, before adding, "I'm still unsure whether I should bring you along. I'm not sure how the media will react after last night's event." Haley rolled her eyes and said, "No one will be at the supermarket on a Monday morning except for the unemployed and the oddballs. What about moms trying to catch up on groceries after finally sending their children to school?" I questioned. Haley paused to think and then replied, "Relax. They might be there. But if they're anything like my mom, they'll probably go home and open a bottle of wine to relax before going grocery shopping to pick up their kids." "Let's hope they're all like Claire then," I said with a defeated tone, knowing that it would be difficult for me to ask Haley not to come along. As we made our way to the car, she smiled and bounced along behind me. My dad's car had been sent for professional cleaning, and since the Ford Dodger convertible was already a part of my identity, there was a black minivan parked in the garage that I had purchased for the purpose of going incognito when needed. Haley playfully teased, "So lame," as we both entered the car, leaving me momentarily bewildered. Her laughter filled the air, and together we embarked on a short drive to the nearest supermarket, just 3 miles away. As I parked the car, Haley jokingly asked, "What are you buying? Do you want this older sister to buy it for you?" I chuckled, finding her humor amusing, and replied, "Sure. How much money do you have?" But Haley quickly backtracked, exclaiming, "No. I take it back. You have way more money than I do." I playfully protested, "No take-backs," to which she cleverly pointed out, "You didn't say no take-backs before I took it back, so it doesn't count." Unfazed, I challenged her, speaking with a hint of mischief, "What about your older woman's pride? I'm just a cute, helpless little boy. You should take responsibility for me." Haley couldn't believe her ears, responding in disbelief, "Cute? Helpless? You're the richest boy on the planet. Robin. How much money did he make from the beginning of his career until now?" I glanced at Robin, remaining silent, and with a teasing glance at Haley, I remarked, "She will not divulge my personal information unless she has my permission." Haley grumbled in frustration, and I couldn't help but laugh. To conceal my identity, I playfully hid my face with a baseball cap and pulled up the hoodie. Amidst our banter, we entered the sparsely visited store and headed straight to the fresh produce section. I picked up a few pumpkins and cucumbers, while Haley surprised me by grabbing some jelly beans. I questioned her, "Wait, jelly beans? Where did you even get those?" Haley pointed to the candy containers nearby and exclaimed, "There. Let's go pick some out." Initially reluctant, I found myself unable to resist her enthusiasm as she started putting the candy in the bag. I pushed the trolley towards her and playfully intervened, "Haste, don't get the cola ones. And no need for more marshmallows. You already have a bag full." Unbeknownst to us, our playful interaction caught the attention of some housewives nearby. Instead of recognizing me, they smiled kindly and whispered amongst themselves, "They must be newlyweds." Another housewife remarked, "Look at them, so excited at the beginning of their marriage." Yet another, slightly pessimistic, housewife added, "They must still be in their honeymoon phase. Wait until she knows what he is really like." The other two housewives turned to the pessimistic ones before slightly patting her pitifully on the shoulder. With our candy selection complete, we placed over 10 different variations into our trolley, satisfying both of our sweet tooth cravings. Haley, with a mischievous twinkle in her eyes, suggested, "We need to get chips too." Attempting to steer us back on track, I intervened, "Wait. We need actual food. We'll get chips when we reach the snacks aisle." Excitement brimming in her voice, Haley asked, "What other things do you need?" Catching her infectious enthusiasm, I replied with equal excitement, "I need towels, soap, face wash, and shampoos." Spotting a knife set nearby, Haley grabbed it and inquired, "Do you need some knives?" "Oh, I think I do. Grab the stainless steel ones," I replied. She wore a giant sun hat and said, "We need this too, right? OH, and these sunglasses too." She gleefully wore a white frame big sunglasses before pulling her hat brim down and posing. I laughed and said, "Well, I am living next to the beach, so why not?" "Great. Let's pick one out for you too," she said before she placed a gaudy-looking fedora on my head, on top of my baseball hat, and then laughed. We began filling the trolley with various items, and before long, one trolley was already packed to the brim. Recognizing the need for another, I remarked, "We need another one. We haven't even reached the snacks aisle yet." Haley, munching on some shoplifted jelly beans she had sneakily stashed in her pockets, nonchalantly declared, "I'll let the staff bring this to the cashier." An elderly staff member kindly offered assistance as we went to retrieve another trolley. To my surprise, Haley climbed inside the empty trolley and sat there, leaving me puzzled. Sensing my confusion, she explained, "I'm too lazy to walk back over there. Onwards, my chariot." Amused by her playful declaration, I teased, a chariot needs to be pulled from the front. This is a rickshaw at best. Or you can call it by its own name. Haley, undeterred, proclaimed cheerfully, onwards, my trolley. Our laughter filled the supermarket aisles as I exclaimed, hold on tight, before breaking into a run. With the trolley's momentum stable, I hopped onto the back, placing my feet on top of the back wheel, and we slid our way to the snacks aisle. Filled with exhilaration, Haley couldn't contain her excitement and exclaimed, "W-O," while I joined in the laughter. Then, both of us got scolded by a staff member. After giving a short apology, we went to the snacks aisle. Haley suddenly said, "Hey, what about holding a party on Halloween?" I grimaced instantly, "Nah. I want to do something else." "Why not? You have a new house. We have a lot of chips. It'll be great. A Halloween party." Her eyes were glittering as she tried to convince me. I had to cover her face with my hand, but she kept moving around it to show her pleading eyes. "I don't want to," I replied before pushing the trolley away. "Come on. You haven't made your high school debut yet. You need to hold a party so that you can be popular." I stopped the trolley, looked her directly in the eye, and asked teasingly, "Really? I need to hold a party to become popular, me?" "Right." Haley was taken aback and accepted it instantly. Then, she shook it off and said, "You're already popular, that's why you have to do the party. It's our duty as the hot and popular kids. Besides, think about your friends. You haven't met them in so long." Her argument started to chip away at my defenses. I considered it and said, "I'm sure one of them will hold a party. We can just go there." "That's not the point," Haley said frustratingly, which made me chuckle. With an obsessive look, she said, "It's a party by the beach. With no supervision. This is the event of the year." "Ah, so you just want to have no supervision," I said teasingly. She pouted and said, "We can't all do whatever we want and get away with it." I laughed and said, "All right." "Really? We're going to hold a party?" Haley widened her eyes in anticipation. I chuckled and said, "I'll think about it." "For real?" "Yes." She celebrated loudly, which made a lot of people stare at us. I pulled down my cap before pushing the trolley away. Haley was apologetic and said, "Sorry." "Ah, by the way, you said you want to do something else. What do you want to do during Halloween?" I smirked and said seriously, "Trick or treating." Haley was in disbelief and said, "Really? That's a kid's thing." "Yeah. I really do want to go. I've never done it, you see. Just go to a random house, ring the doorbell, and get a lot of free candy." Haley was taken aback and then looked at me sympathetically, "Not to kill your dream or anything. But like I said, it's for kids." I turned towards her, and she added, "You are already 6 feet tall. Do you think that people will still give you candies?" A thunderbolt exploded inside my brain as the revelation shocked me. Ed? Haley waved her hands in front of my face as I stood frozen in the middle of the aisle. After bringing in all the groceries and arriving home, I embarked on cooking breakfast, although it was more like brunch due to the time. Utilizing the available kitchen appliances, I decided to make some delicious Danish waffles. Additionally, I prepared a side dish of shredded Brussels sprouts, complemented by hash browns and eggs. The enticing aroma wafting from the kitchen caught Vanessa's attention, prompting her to cautiously and slowly make her way towards the source. Her hunger was palpable, having not eaten since the previous day and having experienced assisted stomach emptying. "Good morning. Take a seat," I said calmly as I placed an empty plate next to Haley's seat on the kitchen island. Haley smiled and said, "Hurry up, or you won't get the waffles." Vanessa approached cautiously, casting a wary glance in my direction before settling into her seat. She couldn't comprehend why my demeanor had shifted from anger to kindness, but she decided to hold back her questions for the moment. I served her 2 thick, golden brown Danish waffles onto her plate and then asked, Do you want some eggs as well? There's juice and milk. Which one do you want? A mix of disbelief and confusion overwhelmed Vanessa, causing her to blurt out, "Didn't you hate me? Why are you being so nice now?" Both Haley and I were taken aback by her question, but Haley quickly smiled and reassured her, saying, "He won't ever get mad at someone when they're trying to eat something. So just eat." I nodded, agreeing with Haley's words and said, "Well, nothing came out this morning besides some rumors and news about a drug lord being captured by some vigilantes. So I guess we're fine." "Well, about last night." Vanessa hesitated. I stopped her and said, "You should fill up first. We can talk about it later." General POV. Sitting together on the living room couch, Vanessa and Edward faced each other, with Haley seated next to Vanessa. Edward spoke up, addressing Haley, "Haley, could you please give us some privacy?" Haley responded, The air here is pretty weird anyway, so I'm going to go hang by the pool." She walked away, mouthing an apology to Vanessa, who looked at her with disbelief. After Haley left, Edward turned his attention back to Vanessa and asked, "All right, Vanessa. Do you have anything to say to me?" Vanessa hesitated for a moment, fiddling with her fingers and falling into silence. Edward patiently waited, but as the silence lingered, he spoke up, "You know, I'm not your therapist, and I don't need to know every detail about your life. I just want to understand the part that involves me." He chuckled lightly and added, "Maybe start with a thank you?" Vanessa's tense body relaxed slightly, and she looked at Edward. "Thank you for coming to pick me up," she said, her voice filled with sincerity. "And thank you for caring about me, even though we're strangers." "You're welcome," Edward replied with a kind smile. He had achieved what he wanted and was satisfied with that alone. Unaware of Edward's intentions, Vanessa continued, "No, I really mean it. I know that if I had accidentally called anyone else, no one would have come to save me. So I truly appreciate it." "I understand." "You don't have to," Edward began, but Vanessa's emotions overwhelmed her, and she burst into tears. Her eyes welled up, and she continued, "I have no one else. My career has hit rock bottom, my relationship is in shambles, my mom won't answer my calls. I have no friends, no prospects, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life right now." Her tears flowed freely, and Edward looked at her sympathetically. But then his expression turned cold as she continued to cry. "So," he muttered, startling Vanessa. "What?" She turned toward him, her disbelief evident. "You heard me. So. Fucking. What?" Edward repeated. Vanessa became angry and exclaimed, "You asshole. I thought you were nice." Edward scoffed and walked in front of her. He grabbed her shoulders, making eye contact, and mocked, "I'll ask again. So. Fucking. What?" Her tears halted, and her expression froze as Edward continued, "So what if you were abandoned by the world? So what if everything feels like it's going to shit? So what if you're alone? Are you just going to sit here and cry? Because if I were you, I'd rather set the entire world on fire than beg for them to take me back," Edward said coldly. Vanessa was taken aback, and her tears subsided. "I'm going to make everyone who abandoned me regret it." Edward released his grip on Vanessa and returned to his seat, while she processed his words. Her eyes trembled hesitantly, and she bit her lower lip, fiddling with her fingers and gripping the edge of her shirt. Finally, she asked, "How are you going to make them regret it?" Edward smirked and said, "What? Do you want me to teach you that for free?" Vanessa lowered her head, grinding her teeth in anger. She considered what she had left to barter with and said, "I'll pay you." High School Musical is a $4 billion industry. But you have less than $400 to your name right now. Only $183 in your bank account, to be exact. I guess paying people to scrub away your picture on the internet took a lot of money, huh? So I don't think you have the money to pay me, Edward pointed out. Then what do you want? My body. Do you want me to sleep with you? Vanessa asked angrily. Nah, I have no interest in power abuse, Edward replied casually with a shrug. Then what the fuck do you want? My soul! Vanessa stood up and shouted. Edward smiled as Vanessa huffed and puffed. She was taken aback when Edward responded, "That sounds interesting." "You really want my soul?" Vanessa asked, disbelief in her voice. Edward chuckled, crossed his legs, and leaned back on the couch. He looked at her and said, "Yeah, I want your soul. I want the soul that's so angry, she'd rather shout at the guy who could be her last chance than cling to his legs and refuse to let go." Edward raised his hands toward her and said, "Come to entertain, Vanessa. Let's seek revenge on the world that abandoned you, together." Vanessa opened her mouth, but no words could come out. She looked at the tempting sight in front of her, but she was scared to take his hands. She was scared that she would be thrown away again. Edward waited there silently for Vanessa to make a decision. At the risk of falling back to his old ways, even though he wanted to make some changes at the part of his personality, he still wanted her to take his offer. "So in the end, I didn't change that much, huh?" he thought inwardly. A short time passed by, and Vanessa finally came to a decision. With a determined look on her face, she grabbed Edward's hand and said, "I accept your conditions." "Great." Edward smirked villainously before saying, "Now, for the first step you need to take to get your revenge." Vanessa waited anxiously for Edward to finish his words. His next words made her feel shaken to her core. Edward stood up from the couch and whispered to Vanessa's ears, "First, you need to get sober." In front of Edward's house, a pretty long-haired redhead got out of her shabby car. Maggie, his cousin, slowly pulled down her glasses as she scanned the surroundings. She pouted and said, "He bought a new house, and still, he forgot to invite me to come. Did he even remember that I had moved to LA?" She already got the key from Ted, who hoped that Maggie's presence there could give Edward some surprise. I'm going to scare him," Maggie muttered as she unlocked the door. Suddenly, the alarm rang and Robin announced, "Intruder alert! Intruder alert!" "What?" Maggie was astonished and she turned around in shock, only to see a steel net falling on top of her. "Ah!" She screamed in horror as she fell down to the ground. Edward rushed to the front door immediately and asked, "Robin, who's the intruder?" "Wait. Maggie?" Struggling with the metal net, Maggie said, "Get this thing off me." Edward instead stood on one leg and leaned against the wall as he observed her trying to get out of there. "Robin, didn't I electrify that net? Shouldn't she be convulsing on the ground right now, wetting herself?" "I cut off the function because she has a key copy, sir." "Should I electrify it right now?" Robin asked. Maggie desperately shouted, "No!" Chapter 227, Online Presence. General POV. On the night Edward embarked on his mission to rescue Vanessa, an unexpected turn of events occurred. Edward's aunt, Camila, without informing anyone, had taken a trip back to Cuba. Upon her arrival, a black-dressed Latina woman with a white lily floral pattern came to pick her up at the airport. Coincidentally, Wayne Bruce, a rogue FBI agent deeply in love with Camila, had decided to spend his days off searching for her in Cuba once again. He spotted Camila getting into a classic Bentley while reading his newspaper and waiting for his departure time. "Wait a minute. I had almost given up hope, but just as I was about to head back to the States, I saw her. Right at the airport? This feels like fate." Wayne smirked and quickly rushed out of the airport to follow Camila. "Taxi," he shouted, waving his arms to catch the attention of a passing driver. However, as they entered the city, the driver lost sight of the car Camila was in, as the streets were filled with classic vintage cars. The country, seemingly forgotten by time. "Damn it! I lost her." Again, he muttered, disappointed. Unaware of her stalker, Camila was driven back to her family's house. The hallways were deserted, but traces of the opulence the family had could be seen. The marks on the wall where the expensive paintings used to be hung, the delicately sculpted door handles, the huge library that was filled with cobwebs, and more reminiscent of an earlier era, scattered all over the mansion. Camila made her way to a small room illuminated by soft white lamps. She had to pass through a plastic curtain before she could see what lay on the bed. A group of doctors, dressed from head to toe in coverings, noticed Camila's arrival and quickly briefed her. Her condition has stabilized for now, but she needs rest. She shouldn't go anywhere or engage in any strenuous activities for at least a month. Camila nodded as she gazed upon Miranda, lying motionless on the bed, trapped in a deep coma. Edward's mother had descended into madness upon hearing the news of his capture, relentlessly hunting down anyone connected to their family's betrayer. Her actions had drawn the attention of Castro's brother, leading to a pursuit by a formidable armed force, only to be intercepted and saved by the sisterhood at the last moment. Camila asked solemnly, "Have she found the snitch yet?" "No. Not yet." The lady with the black dress replied. Camila sighed helplessly and said, "Can we not escape this kind of fate? Will we all die here, for this, God-forsaken country?" While Camila was talking to the others, secretly, her conversation was secretly recorded and analyzed by Edward's assistant, Robin. Suddenly, Camila received a notification on her phone. She opened it and widened her eyes. Then, she quickly reached for her gun and pointed it at the doctor standing beside Miranda. You're the source of the leak?" The doctor raised his hands and sighed disappointedly. Miranda looked at him in astonishment and asked, "Why?" "I'm just so tired of fighting. And I want it all to end," the doctor replied. Edward POV. "Where did you get a key?" I asked Maggie after pulling down the electrocution net away from her. "Answer me first. Why, and when did you weaponize your house?" Maggie asked in disbelief after I helped her get up from the floor. I mean, the better question would be how. I chuckled as I saw her frustratedly walk towards Haley and hide behind her. It was funny to see the 5 feet 7 inches tall girl trying to hide behind the 5 feet 2 inches girl. "How did you get this stuff?" Haley asked curiously as she touched the net. "Can you get one for me and put it in my closet? I have some valuables there I need to protect." She added. "I can, but I can also foresee that your dad or your brother, or both, shaking uncontrollably on the ground, and getting tasered if I did." Haley looked at me puzzledly. "Why would they go to my closet?" "I'm not saying that they will try to get your stuff, but I can really see them getting trapped," I explained. "Ah," Haley exclaimed in realization while Maggie looked at the both of us in disbelief. Haley turned towards Maggie and asked, Are you Maggie?" Petite, gorgeous, cute as a button as people said, "You must be Haley," Maggie said as she smiled at Haley. "Ah. That's nice," Haley exclaimed before she furrowed her eyebrows in realization. "Wait, who said that?" I quickly intercepted and said, "Ah, Maggie, why are you here?" "I come to visit." Maggie smiled and added, "For your housewarming party." Haley and I looked at each other before I replied to Maggie, "I'm not having a housewarming party." "Wait. Really?" Maggie acted confused, but her shaky eyes betrayed her anxiousness. I sighed and asked, "Did my dad plan a housewarming party today?" "No. Not today." "Wait," Maggie was taken aback by her own blunder and nervously said, "You didn't hear that from me." "Of course I hear that from you. Who else would I hear it from?" I looked at her and scoffed disdainfully while she was pleading for my mercy, and Uncle Ted will hate me." "No he won't," I replied casually. Then, I turned to Vanessa who was standing in the corridor and observing the whole thing from a safe distance. "You can stay here for a while if you have no other place to go. If you need anything, ask Maggie." "Wait. You didn't even ask me," Maggie tried to protest, but I only needed to say one short sentence to shut her down: $200,000 debt. If it had been a long time since I returned to my hometown and met Maggie again, I might have treated her better. However, since she came to LA, she would frequently stop by my house to do her laundry and have dinner with my family, so I didn't make any special effort. Maggie hurriedly approached Vanessa and said, "Hi. I recognize you. You're the girl from High School Musical." "I'm Maggie. Nice to meet you. If you need anything, just ask me." Haley looked at Maggie in disbelief and grabbed my sleeve before whispering, "Does she always change her attitude like that?" I nodded and replied, "Yup, she's basically spineless." "Oh, right, I have a live session today. I might even sing. Do you want to stay or go back?" "I'm definitely staying," Haley interrupted excitedly. Maggie glanced at us and noticed Haley's hand touching my arm. She snickered to herself before continuing her conversation with Vanessa. Later, Max and my dad arrived simultaneously, with Vader nestled in Max's arms. As soon as Vader saw me, she leaped from Max's arms and ran straight to me. "Hey! I gave you premium cat treats. You traitor!" Max felt betrayed. I chuckled and said, "Love cannot be bought. Love costs $20 an hour next to the tattoo place I used to work at," Max retorted with a disdainful look on her face. I shrugged and gently stroked Vader's fur before asking, "Do you have my stuff? Your Batman pajamas?" "I sure do," Max replied playfully. My dad chimed in, "But she made me carry them." "Hey, we traded. I hold the princess, and you hold Batman," Max playfully retorted to my dad. Some staff members from the company also arrived with the equipment. They set up a stage next to the pool, with the ocean as the backdrop. Drums, a synthesizer, a guitar, a microphone stand, and some speakers were arranged. "Wait, I'm not trying to hold a concert though. It's just one song," I said in disbelief as I looked at the staff member. He seemed taken aback and replied, "But Mr. Saltzman asked us to do this." "Peps?" "But he's coming today," I said, feeling confused. "Max, you know about this?" I asked the brunette girl who's trying to coax Vader from leaving my arm. "Huh? Oh, right. Pep said it's been a while since he heard you sing. So he wants to enjoy it. I think the band members would come too. Coldplay is preparing to release their album." "He didn't bother them, did he?" "I'm not very sure how many people would watch the live session, so it's better for them to practice than to join in." "Nah, they wanted to busk with you too. So they are coming," Max replied. I sighed and said, "The whole thing is going to be all blown out of sorts again." An hour after the staff had finished setting up and adjusting the audio, my house was suddenly filled with people from all over who had come just to watch me perform. I looked at Pepper, who was smiling and waving, in disbelief and asked, "What is all of this?" My friends Billy, Phineas, Jacob, Jenna, Elsa, Enid, and Alex were there, along with Maggie, Vanessa, Selena, for some reason. The football team and their girlfriends, those who had them, entertained staff members, Harvey, Pepper's gay friends, and many more people who had been arriving one by one. "Oh, don't worry about it. None of the people here will tell anyone else where you live," Pepper said casually. "No, that's not my point. I was just going to show off my costume and sing a song, you know." "That's all I had planned for today's live session," I explained carefully. Pepper suddenly realized his mistake, and his face turned ashen. He pulled his cheek down in horror and said, "Right. You were doing everything yourself. Did I just throw you into the pit and ask you to improvise everything?" "Kinda," I replied honestly. "I mean, I can do it, but it won't be as smooth as the ones I had planned. Not unless I get some help. At the very least, some help for the final part." With Lex Luthor's image management, which included public speaking skills, I wouldn't have any problem handling the entire thing myself. However, this would be a great opportunity to showcase Coldplay or any other label artist during today's show. We're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2. The staff members counted down to the live session while standing behind the professional-grade camera. The video was being broadcasted live on the Entertain website and my own fan page, as well as my live session on Instagram. The Instagram session was recorded in a portrait ratio, while the others were recorded in the 16:9 ratio, which would become the standard for movie ratios in the future. As the live schedule was posted beforehand, thousands of fans crowded the chat as soon as the live session started. 9,000 viewers watching. Lily, yay, it's Edward. Smiling face with heart eyes, smiling face with heart eyes. Girl XX, smiling face with hard eyes, smiling face with hard eyes. Jeanette, smiling face with hard eyes, smiling face with hard eyes. Hello everyone. I greeted them while standing lazily inside the first location of the shooting today, the kitchen. Wearing a brown cardigan over my white shirt, I pair it with a custom-made cargo pants that Haley designed for me. Lily, you look so handsome, smiling face with hard eyes, smiling face with hard eyes. Havana girl, Ed. Hi. I bought your extended album. I love it so much. You should do more songs in Spanish. 15,000 viewers watching. I saw the message and responded, thank you so much for your support. I bowed slightly before saying, today's show will be recorded and posted on my blog, so don't worry about missing anything. Lily, yay! For today, initially I wanted to show off to you guys my outfit for Halloween. But some news came out that made me a bit depressed. I said playfully, Annie, why are you sad? Jenna, who bullied you? Annie, are you okay? /N, lol. Bullied, you know what? I was bullied. By my stylist. She said that I'm too old to be trick or treating anymore. The chat group spammed the laughter emojis as they heard it. Haley chuckled as she watched it from the cameraman's side and mumbled, I didn't know he's going to be that depressed when he realized it. What did you guys think would be my choice for Halloween? Or what will suit me? I asked. The chat exploded, both on my Instagram and on the Entertain web broadcast. Jacob Peralta, John McClane. RDJ, Liam Nelson's daughter in Taken. Lily, Romeo. Texas Girl, Cowboy. Camila, Joker. There were tremendous suggestions about what I should wear for Halloween. Romeo and Joker kept repeating a lot of times, which depressed me a bit. So, it's either a teenage heartthrob or a villain. Can't I be something else? I said jokingly to the chat. They spammed the laughter emoticon again before suggesting other things. Annie, how about Percy from the Percy Jackson books? I responded to the suggestion as it intrigued me, Percy Jackson? He's like 12. I've never read the books before, but I know about that particular thing. Maybe I should read the books. The chat was continuously trying to convince me that the book was great. In my previous life when I was watching the movie, it gave me the feeling that the whole show was a parody or something similar. The second one was even worse than the first one. So I had no interest in the books at all. But recently Enid, and even Alex had read the books and said it was great, so I may check it out later on and see how different the movie actually was from the books. So far no one actually guessed what outfit I had planned for Halloween. I said cheekily. I wanted to show it to you guys if you guessed it right, but no luck I guess. I shrugged. Lily, NOOO. Spider-Man. Annie, someone from Harry Potter? Draco Malfoy maybe? Texas Girl, Romeo is not right? Pablo, hi. Love from Chile. You don't do concerts here? Hi Pablo. It's not that I don't want to do concerts there, but we're still in the negotiation process with some countries. So any international or world tour would have to wait until it's done. Earliest we can do it is at the start of next year, if everything goes well. I explained a bit. Pablo, sad dot emoji. Annie, Darth Vader. If this is wrong, can we get a hint please? 25,000 viewers watching. Lily, hint please. Jenna, hint please. Alright then. The hint. RDJ won't like it. I said jokingly. The chat exploded once more with people typing, Batman. Finally. I exclaimed in relief after they managed to guess it. Am I not Batman material? What took you guys so long? I asked with a chuckle. Suddenly, Vader jumped from Max's grip again and rushed to the film set. Vader, no. Max called her back, but it was too late. The black cat jumped into my arms, which confused the chat. I placed Vader on my right shoulder casually and said, I'm sorry. I guess she wanted to introduce herself to you guys. She's my pet, Lord Kitty Vader III. Vader swatted my cheek slightly, which made me say, ah, she got angry. Her name is Vader. Annie, she's so cute. Lily, aw. Abby, Vader? You named the kitty after the Sith Lord? Fast forward after me showing my outfit to my fans and talking about a few things for a while, the fans requested to see if they could watch me putting on the costume. I relented after thousands of messages and donations. Yeah, people could donate if they wanted to stress out their messages. Left the screen for a while to change my clothes. Vader no. Max said as Vader jumped to the tripod for my Instagram and slightly pushed the camera towards me who was changing my clothes, which made my bare upper body being revealed to the world. Annie, nosebleed emoji. Lily, nosebleed emoji. Donna, thirsty emoji. +1. +1. +1. 35,000 viewers watching. 36,350 viewers watching. 40,000 viewers watching. I quickly put on the outfit and returned to the screen. Wow, the numbers jumped out so quickly, huh? Now I know, my fanbase is all made up of perverts. Jenna, you're the one who stripped. General POV. A few minutes before, crossing her arms and watching the filming from afar, a complicated expression appeared on Vanessa's face. Why does everyone like him so much? He only knows how to crack lame jokes. But, still. 40,000 live viewers? That's like a big concert already. When Edward was changing his clothes, Vanessa's eyes suddenly widened and she blurted out, damn. He has an even nicer body than him. Him who? Maggie asked curiously. As Vanessa didn't answer, she tried to pry, nicer than Zach? Just a little bit. Vanessa replied while pinching her fingers together. Jacob quickly cupped Elsa's eyes with his hands the second Edward undressed. Jenna started praying away the temptation, but Billy's eyes were glued on him. In Hollywood, several movie executives commented about Edward's live show. They were not interested in the session in the beginning, but mostly were updated to the situation by their assistants. Humph. He's just playing around. A true artist won't do this. This just shows that he's a kid who knows nothing. Most of them were already disconnected with the masses, such as the movie producers who wanted to adapt the Percy Jackson book into a movie. A lot of celebrities, whether they were famous or the struggling ones, were confused as to how Edward had done this. To create a loyal fan base in just a short span of half a year that would support him no matter what. Some needed decades of work to achieve what Edward had achieved in such a short time. President Batman no, sorry. President Obama was watching the live show with his daughter when he saw the Batman's outfit. Albeit his face was calm, inside his heart, it screamed, I want to wear that too. Chapter 228, Live Busking. General POV. After showing off his costumes, one of his fans asked Edward why he was so excited for Halloween. Edward mulled over it for a while before he answered, well, that's a tough question. Growing up, I've never gone trick or treating. The fans were quite shocked when they heard his reply. Edward continued casually as he changed his costume back. There was a black tight shirt he needed to wear underneath his Batman suit, which he didn't take off, and just placed his cardigan on top of it. Yeah. The best memory about Halloween I had was this one time when I was 4 years old. My dad snuck me out of the house when everyone was already done trick-or-treating, and put a blanket over my head to make me a ghost. All the houses were already done with giving candies, but then there's this old guy who every kid was afraid of, a Mr. Klezak, who still has a bucket load of it. I went over there as a last resort, and he gave me every single candy he had left. We went in and out in 20 minutes, without my mom knowing about it. That's the only Halloween memories I have other than constant practicing or having musical classes when everyone else was dressed up and having fun. So I kinda wanna make up to it. Edward opened up about his past, which created an emotional uproar from his fans. The chat was silent for a while, and then it exploded. 59,000 viewers watching. Texas girl, damn it. And here I was, thinking he's childish for wanting to go trick or treating. Ed. You deserve to get a proper Halloween. Lily, I'm choking up right now. What kind of parents did that? Ed. Come to my house. I'll make sure to give you candies. Annie, I'm crying. Ed. Be strong. I'll give you candies. There would be a lot of fans sending candies to the company after this live session. The amount he got would last him for 5 whole years even if he indulged himself till his stomach burst daily. As Edward's friends watched, Enid suddenly wiped down her non-existent tears and said, "He's been through a lot. And I will make sure to get that Catwoman outfit before it's all sold out." Hey! I thought you're sympathizing with him. Elsa, who was emotional in the beginning, retorted to Enid. Oh, grow up. This is just a ploy for him to get more candies. Enid accused Edward without knowing that she hit 50% of the marks. Jenna, Alex and Elsa, who were initially feeling bad for Edward, fall into a confusion and then the same thought arises in their mind. He is shameless enough to actually do that. Damn it, and when he can go trick-or-treating, he's going to rub it in our faces. Jacob muttered with a jealous expression. There was no chance for him to go trick-or-treating this year after he got his puberty. I blame Dad. If I got my mom's genes, then I can go trick-or-treat till I'm 18. He mumbled to himself. 15 minutes later, as the live session progressed, Edward suddenly announced, "There's something truly special in store for all of you today." As the chat was curious, he smirked and added, "Not only will I be performing a song for you at the end of this session, but it is with great honor that I introduce you all to the newest addition to the Entertain label, the incredible band, Coldplay." Jenna muttered in confusion, "Coldplay? Who is that?" Phineas and Billy looked at each other with the expression, "Do you know these guys?" But then both of them shrugged at the same time. Haley was the only one clapping and cheering for the band. Edward saw the confusion in the chat ground. He smiled mischievously and said, "Figured you guys wouldn't know about them. They are a British band, who I headhunted to sign with the company myself." Isn't that right, Chris? 44,000 viewers watching. Hermoine, really? Then, they must be a great band. I can't wait. The numbers of people watching the show dropped for some time, but Edward wasn't worried about it. Chris Martin smiled awkwardly and replied with a slight British accent, "Well, Ed is the one who convinced us to fly here." Being in a live show had made Chris felt nervous, and he had completely forgotten the media training Edward had the newly signed artist to the label took. Edward smiled in disbelief and said, "Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?" "Oh, right. Hello everyone. My name is Chris Martin. This is the band's bassist. Guy? Hello everyone, I'm Guy Berryman. I'm Johnny Buckland. I play the piano. I am Will Champion, the drummer. And we're the band, Coldplay," Chris Martin said excitedly. Edward smiled as the band were finally getting it together and announced to the audience, "As the band handpicked by myself, you won't disappoint the viewers watching today, right?" Chris held his chest and smiled with exasperation. "That's too much pressure, Ed." The rest of the band members, and Edward laughed at Chris's reaction. Texas girl. Ed is a meanie. Why is that so hot? Annie, good luck Coldplay. I'm sure they will do great. Phineas, Coldplay has been playing all over Europe since 1996. They are not really a newbie band. They are professionals. Lily, did I see Selena and Vanessa Hudgens in the background, or am I just imagining things? RDJ, wait, is this happening at your new place? And you didn't even think to invite me. In real life, Billy looked at Phineas in disbelief as she saw his comment. How? She asked. Wikipedia. Phineas replied while looking at his phone. Also, I'm quite sure that Edward edited the page by himself. How so? Alex was intrigued. Phineas showed the paragraph to her while saying, "It says here, they signed the contract with Entertain with the handsome and dashing artist, Edward Newgate support himself." Alex instinctively rolled her eyes and said flatly, yeah. He edited it himself. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the band Coldplay with their song, Yellow. Edward announced. After the introduction, the camera panned to Chris while Edward got out of the shot. He turned off his microphone and walked to Pepper, who was the closest one to him. How are we doing? We're dropping fast. But it is still over the estimate you made. Way more than that. Pepper replied with a smile. Harvey added mischievously, by the way, the viewership jumped up to almost 80,000 people when you took off your clothes. We should do a live session where you were just naked the entire time. Pepper interjected quickly, don't put ideas in his head. With enough money, he will actually do it. Edward contorted his face. No, I will not. What kind of impression do you have on me exactly? Edward muttered with disbelief. Pepper turned to him and said, slut for money. Oi! Edward retorted immediately. While Edward was talking, the band started to play. A mellow melody filled the entire poolside, and the band finally started to capture people's focus. Yellow Coldplay. Oh, the viewership is climbing up again. Harvey muttered. Chris sang, look.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything you do, yeah, they were all yellow.
Annie, oh, they really are great. Texas Girl, as expected of Ed. Janine. Wait, shouldn't you say as expected of the band instead? Texas Girl, yeah. But Ed picked them, so the credit went to him.
I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do, and it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to done, and it was all yellow.
Edward slightly swayed his body as he listened to the song. While he was immersing himself, the camera recorded him secretly and displayed it on the screen for a short second. Chris crooned,
Your skin, oh yeah, your skin.
This was the moment the fans finally accepted Coldplay into their hearts. The instrumental part plus Chris's earlier vocals attracted a lot of people into watching the show live. 60,000 viewers watching. Roy Kent, hey, I know that band. I went to their concert early this year. The European fans of Coldplay rushed to the live show to watch them play. The band finally got their recognition after over a decade of touring, rocketing their image to the top of the music industry after their album re-release. While the band was playing their song, Haley snuck towards Edward. Even though the guests were ordered to not disturb Edward while the filming was still ongoing, none of the staff members stopped her. You have a great eye. So, everyone in the company is like them too? Haley asked with her hands behind her back and leaning slightly forwards to Ed. Edward saw her and smiled, of course. I can see the future, and they are all going to stand on the world stage someday. I want to tease you, but I got convinced instead. Want to make a bet on your word then? Haley asked. If I made a bet on something like this, then it's really unfair for you, isn't it? Edward chuckled. Let's talk terms. Haley giggled. All right. Then, let's make things challenging. Edward said. As he felt confident that the band was going to do well, he didn't want to win the bet too easily. If the band manages to sell over 1 million albums in a week, you win. If they sell over 10 million albums in a week, then I win. Alright, if you win, then what's your prize? Haley asked while batting her eyes seductively at me. However, her grin on her face made her seem a bit silly instead. Edward still chuckled and replied, well then, if I win, then, this is hard. How about you, what do you want if you win? No. You need to tell me yours first. Haley replied quickly. You're going to make me do some horrible things, do you? Edward narrowed his eyes on her. Why? Scared? Haley stuck her tongue out to provoke him. I'm not scared, Missy. Alright, you're on. No matter what the prize is. Deal. Haley said, and they shook hands on it. Edward looked at Haley's gleeful face and then reminded her, you seem happy. I guess you forgot that I didn't tell you what my prize is too. She froze and said, wait. I am, of. No take backs now. Edward chuckled seeing her reactions. It could be ranging from not having a party, to some serious fucked up stuff. You have already agreed to it, so you can't say no when I win. But that won't happen if I'm the one who wins. Haley shook off her anxiousness and said with a determined tone. Courageous. Just don't cry when it happens. Edward teased. Haley stammered and then retorted, faking confidence, why you too? Don't cry then. After the song ended, the viewership had jumped to almost 80,000 people. Edward walked back into the camera shot and walked to the band members. Coldplay everyone. I told you these guys are hidden treasures. Chris smiled and said, now, it's time for the main character to return then? Edward returned the smile and said, of course. It's my live session after all. People were laughing at the chat from seeing the two artists' interaction. As Edward stood behind the microphone, the chat exploded. Annie, would you be singing a song from the album? Texas Girl, I want to hear 7 years. Emma Geller, ED. I've waited for this the entire show. Lily, everyone's here right now. Ed. We love you. Fan club member 1, we love you. +1. +1. +1. Fan club member 12003, we love you. The viewership jumped to 99,000, shocking Pepper and Harvey. In Chicago, Taylor was watching the live show from her laptop while within her hotel room. Her short hair fluttered in the wind as she sat by the window with a stoic face. She hummed, unsure of what to feel when she saw him standing behind the microphone again. Will he sing a song about me? She muttered to herself. Then, she laughed deprecatingly and said, probably not. But still, a little bit of hope lingered in her heart. Next to her, a few music sheets scattered on the floor of the room. It contained lyrics and melodies that she had made when she started the tour. In Cuba, Camila was watching the live performance while sitting next to her comatose sister in her sister's room. Why don't you wake up, Miranda? You're missing your own son's brilliant performance today. Back to the live show, as Edward stood behind the microphone, he said, the live session will end after my performance. Before I sing, I need to tell you guys something. Edward took a deep breath. At the same time, Ted closed his eyes as he prepared himself. His son had told him that the songs he created today were from the passages of his diary, and he felt that he needed to confront his past so that he could move on. Despite not going to therapy himself, Ted told everything to Dr. Linda about Edward's decisions, and she highly encouraged it. Except she told him to make Ed apply his decision in a safer environment. But that was ignored. Edward continued speaking to his fans, for my next song, it's a new song that I had just finished a few days ago. Lily, I didn't miss this. This day is freaking great. Annie, OHH. I want to record this. But it will be uploaded in the video blog, right? Thank God. But, it is also an old song for me. It was half written when I was around 10 years old, and finally completed now. I hope that you guys will enjoy it. Edward said. Madison, wait, how old is him exactly? Lily, no one actually knows. He would never admit to it. Grin. Emoji. Lily, I'll just act like I don't see that. Edward called out. Lily, sorry. Edward looked at the band Coldplay who were helping him with the instrumental music and counted 1.2.3.4. The song is called Someone to You. Edward said before the music started playing. Banners, Someone to You. Oh, this is an uplifting song. I was so worried. Pepper sighed as he rubbed his chest in relief. Then, his expression froze as he heard the first lyric.
I don't want to die or fade away.
Edward crooned. Haley automatically started imagining a lone violinist on the stage, and everyone in the audience was leaving.
I just want to be someone. I just want to be someone.
Edward looked into the camera directly, and his gaze made the girls fans of his become intoxicated.
Dive and disappear without a trace.
Edward continued while closing his eyes as he sang with emotions.
I just want to be someone. Well, doesn't everyone?
Harvey muttered, the melody is really cheerful, but the lyrics are quite sad. Pepper finished her sentence.
And if you feel the great dividing, I wanna be the one you're guiding, 'cause I believe that you can lead the way. I just wanna be somebody to someone, oh, I wanna be somebody to someone, oh, I never had nobody and no road home, I wanna be somebody to someone. And if the sun starts setting, the sky goes cold, and if the clouds get heavy and start to fall, I really need somebody to call my own. I wanna be somebody to someone. Someone to you. Someone to you. Someone to you. Someone to you.
The guests started crowding behind the cameraman. A shot of them dancing was inserted into the live show. This time, the viewers could see clearly who the guests were. The band members acted as the background singer as Edward sang.
I don't even need to change the world. I'll make the moon shine just for your view. I'll make the starlight circle the room.
Phineas suddenly let out a burst of mirth. Alex looked at him and asked, "Why are you laughing?" "Nothing. I just felt that. What he is singing." Phineas said as he suddenly hugged Alex from behind, making her flustered and her face turned red. What are you doing?" "Nothing. I just feel like hugging you." Phineas whispered, an answer which didn't calm down Alex's rapidly beating heart.
And if you feel like night is falling, I wanna be the one you're calling, 'cause I believe that you can lead the way.
The way Edward jumped as he sang, which made the crowd do the same. He stopped and sang seriously.
I just wanna be somebody to someone, oh, I wanna be somebody to someone, oh, I never had nobody and no road home, I wanna be somebody to someone. And if the sun starts setting, the sky goes cold, and if the clouds get heavy and start to fall, I really need somebody to call my own. I wanna be somebody to someone. Someone to you. Someone to you. Someone to you. Someone to you.
Next to Camila, the comatose Miranda's fingers suddenly twitched as she heard her son's voice. Coldplay and Ed sang together, the
kingdom come, the rise, the fall, the setting sun above it all. I just wanna be somebody to you.
120,000 viewers watching. Annie, I can't help but dance. Lily, ah, he's so hot with his hair long. Haley crossed her arms together as she tried to hear the lyrics intently. Ted saw this and chuckled. He muttered to her, interrupting her focus, "Isn't it funny?" In the song, he shouted what he wanted multiple times, but because of the melody, people still are not able to hear it. They will think it's a love song instead. It kinda is. Haley replied. Ted nodded in agreement and said, "Yeah. It kinda is." Edward continued as the camera filmed a rotating shot around him.
I just wanna be somebody to someone, oh. I wanna be somebody to someone, oh. I never had nobody and no road home. I wanna be somebody to someone. And if the sun starts setting, the sky goes cold, and if the clouds get heavy and start to fall, I really need somebody to call my own. I wanna be somebody to someone.
The crowd danced feverishly. Edward smiled at them, his eyes were searching for those close to him. The instrumental slowed down, and Edward sang by himself, The crowd cheered after the song was over. Edward looked into the camera and said, "Did you guys enjoy it? The live session will end right here today. Thank you so much for all of your support. I love you guys. Annie, ED. I want to go to your concert again. Please. +1. +1. +1. +1. Thousands of messages spammed the screen with requests to Edward. The people were begging for him to hold a concert again soon. People also requested for him to release the song officially. The screen turned blank for the audience, but Edward kept the chat going. Pepper hugged Edward as the song was over. While the CEO was emotional, Harvey said mischievously, "Now that it's over, we can finally get the party started." "I knew it. It is a party," Edward retorted. Chapter 229, Housewarming. Edward POV. I stood in front of my group of friends in the living room while all of the adult guests were having a conversation by the pool. Pepper was letting me rest after my live session, which I really need. But at the same time, I also had the feeling that he was sending me away so he could talk behind my back. There was no microphone at the poolside either, so I couldn't get Robin to listen to what they were saying. "So, no one among you guys actually brought a gift to my housewarming party?" Edward looked at his friends in disbelief while they could only smile wryly. "Oh, I did," Alex said while raising her hand halfway, surprising the others. They looked at her as if she's a traitor and barraged her with accusation. "Hey! No one even knows it's a housewarming party. This is unfair. I demand a do-over," Enid said aggrieved. Alex was startled and taken aback as everyone else agreed with Enid. "Yeah, Alex. That is a pretty selfish thing to do." Jacob reprimanded, but had a teasing smile on his face. Jenna joined in, "How you let us hang dry like that?" She turned towards Elsa and she nodded in agreement before shooting a disappointed look at Alex. Wait, Alex tried to explain herself, but even her boyfriend joined in. Phineas teased, "I don't think you're this kind of person, Alex. This make me want to rethink our whole relationship." "Listen to me," Alex exclaimed in frustration. "I didn't bring a gift in the beginning, but he said in his live he's going to read the Percy Jackson books. My dad texted me about the housewarming and what kind of things he might like. I asked him to buy the books on my behalf. I did nothing wrong." I looked at Alex teasingly as she tried to catch a breath and said, "Well, you could have told them what you were doing. Then, they could have asked your dad to buy the gifts on their behalf too. So the blame is still on you." "Yeah. It's all Alex's fault," Enid teased as she grabbed Alex's hand and hugged it. "Ugh. Get off me. You guys all hate me." Everyone laughed and started to placate her while I was still looking at her with a disappointed and accusing expression. "I will throw your books into the ocean," Alex threatened as she saw my gaze. I clicked my tongue and said, "Don't encourage pollution of the ocean, Alex. Didn't our teacher teach us better than that? Mrs. Henderson will be disappointed." Alex was speechless, stomped her feet and then walked away angrily. I laughed and told Phineas, "Mr. Boyfriend, go and calm her down." "Why?" Phineas asked, confused. I looked at him with disbelief and said slowly, "Because it's your job. You do know what a boyfriend's job is, right?" "Ah, shit." Phineas rushed to follow Alex immediately. Jenna was intrigued and she asked while walking closer to me, "What is a boyfriend's job exactly?" "If you want to know, you need to get one," I replied playfully, dodging the question. Jenna widened her eyes in disbelief, nearly sighing, but caught herself just in time. "Jerk," Jenna muttered underneath her breath. What was that?" "Ah, by the way, how did you do on your test?" I asked her casually. Jenna suddenly broke into a huge grin and said, "Remember when you told me that you will take me out on a date if I get first place in the grade?" I was taken aback for a bit and smiled anticipatingly. "Yeah, I remember." "Why? Are you top of the class?" "Nope. But she's close to getting there. Maybe she will get there after 10 years. Elsa suddenly chimed in as she walked past us. Bewildered, Jenna shoots an "Are you serious" look at her bestie. Elsa giggled and then returned to her boyfriend's side. I patted Jenna's shoulder and said comfortingly, "Tough luck. Try again next time." "Hey! Don't look at me with pity. Get that expression away. Put it away." She waved her hands angrily in front of my face. I held back my laughter and went to the couch to sit. Enid slid over next to Jenna and whispered before both of them giggled. "What are you guys laughing about?" Billy asked with curiosity. "We're just talking. Maybe we should go to Ed's room," Jenna muttered slyly. I turned towards her in confusion, and then Enid continued, "So we can search for porn mags. His stuff is still in boxes, so we can find it easily." Billy blushed and she turned towards me before asking, "Did you keep, Red?" I smiled and replied, "Why would I? You guys can go search if you want. Let's go." Enid said excitedly and stood up while pulling Jenna and Billy to stand up too. The trio went to tour my house in excitement. Even Elsa and Alex joined them later on. Phineas, Jacob and I were left behind in the living room. Jacob excitedly told me about the football team training, and Phineas was talking about a new song he had written. "You know, maybe I should just get homeschooled like you," Phineas muttered. Jacob turned towards him and scolded, "No, you can't. Ed had already barely come to school nowadays. If you two are homeschooled, then I will really be alone next year." "But you have the football team," Phineas retorted. "Why are you being so dramatic?" I laughed at Jacob. We talked and caught up for a while, and mainly both of them were unloading their grievance of their girlfriends on me. I looked at them with a sour face and asked irritatedly, "Are you guys bragging on me right now?" Both of them smiled teasingly and said, "Maybe." "Hey Ed." Selena suddenly walked into the living room and called out to me. Both of them froze in place, and I smirked seeing their reaction. I patted the empty seat next to mine and said, "Hi Selena. Sit here. I was wondering if I can talk to you in private," Selena said as she smiled at Jacob and Phineas for a second before turning back towards me. "All right," I agreed and turned towards the boys. "Get lost." "Hey. You can just ask us to leave politely," Phineas retorted and he hit my arm. I returned the hit, and we had a short skirmish there before both of them went to find the girls. Selena sat next to me, and she was close enough that her knees were touching mine. She placed her hand on my thigh and asked me worriedly, "Hey. You know Vanessa is a mess, right?" "I know." I nodded in agreement. Selena asked, so? Are you really signing her with your agency? What about Taylor? Did she know about it? Sensing that there was something more behind her questioning, I asked, what Taylor got to do with this? I mean, I know what happened between you guys. Selena replied timidly. Are you already moving on right now? With Vanessa? I think you misunderstood the situation. There is no way that anything will ever happen between me and Vanessa. I replied. Selena furrowed her eyebrow and replied, you don't know that. In the matter of fact, I do know about it. I leaned in and whispered to her ear, making her blush. You see, last night, she puked on my shirt. So we are never going to happen. I won't ever be able to forget about that. Seriously, you have more of a shot than she does. Selena looked at me with a dumbfounded gaze, and her breathing became heavier. Suddenly, Pepper rushed into the living room with some guests following him from behind. Selena snapped out of it and then rushed away quickly. I'm going to talk to Haley. Ed. Look who's here. Pepper said excitedly as I stood back up. I laughed at Selena's reaction before turning my attention towards the guests. The two men began to introduce themselves. Hi. I'm Brendan. Brendan Beck, and Mark Maril. Nice to finally meet you. I said as I shook hands with both of them. They smiled in amazement and Mark said, wow, you really are incredible. They watched the performance before this, and were thoroughly impressed by my singing skills. I smiled smugly and said, I know. Why don't we sit in the kitchen? We can talk over there. My dad doesn't want any liquor in the house, but I'm pretty sure if we look hard enough, we can find Max's hidden stash. Brendan raised his hands up and rejected, oh that's alright. He shot a glance at Mark before continuing, we just want to meet you today. That's all. Mark added, yeah. It's only for that, except Dash. I interjected them quickly as I could sense what they wanted. You wanted to see what the game currently looks like, right? Don't be afraid to just be direct with me. Mark and Brendan smiled apologetically and said, well, you did make a copy of the source code. It's been 2 weeks, and the game is going to be launched really soon. So forgive us if this is a difficult request. Oh, not at all. I waved my hand dismissively and said, how about this, I'll send the game to you guys tonight. I wanted to do it right now, but I don't have my laptop with me. That's fine. Really? Also, we aren't really trying to pressure you at all. Mark clarified. Both of them harbored their own reservations about the game and held some doubts regarding my abilities. However, they were keen on ensuring that I, as the owner of the company, had a positive impression of their work. They understood the significance of my investment, which amounted to a staggering $60 million. Flattering my ego was undoubtedly part of their strategy. In all honesty, it was clear that their own skills fell short in comparison to mine. Mark and Brendan were businessmen, not game developers. They had hired a team to create the game on their behalf. However, when I received the nearly completed game they had produced, it was evident that it fell short in terms of quality compared to their competitors. Note: you can independently verify this by researching the release of League of Legends in 2009. Thankfully, Robin and I had already taken the initiative to make significant improvements to the game. It now closely resembled the League of Legends game from my memories, and Robin's expertise had breathed new life into the source code. Redundant code had been eliminated, and the gameplay had been enhanced with a higher level of intelligence. Pepper stood by my side, casting a sarcastic glance at the departing figures of Mark and Brendan. Oh boy, they still think they're in charge, huh? He remarked. That's right. Reality hasn't quite hit them yet, I whispered back to Pepper. He snorted in agreement and said, hand me the game, and I'll personally show it to them. I can't wait to see the expressions on their faces. Sure thing. Robin will send it to you via email. Just remember to make a copy on a pen drive before giving it to them, I instructed. All right. Oh, and one more thing, Hudgens? Really? Pepper looked at me with a mix of incredulity and curiosity. I chuckled and responded, "What? Do you think she's some big star?" "She's currently broken without any job offers." Pepper asked, "What about Bandslam," referring to Vanessa's new movie. Despite being a good film, it didn't perform well at the box office. "So she's still broke?" I shrugged in response. Then I turned to Pepper and asked, "Where's my housewarming gift?" To be honest, I didn't even know this was going to turn into a housewarming party. "I'll send the gift soon." "Is there anything specific you want?" Pepper asked with a kind smile. "A blanket would be nice," I replied. Pepper nodded and waited for a moment, but then he seemed puzzled. "That's it?" "Yeah, I don't need much." "Oh, if you can find me a nice ceramic pot, that would be great too." "A pot or a blanket? Come on. Be a kid. Ask for something ridiculous." Pepper exclaimed, his frustration evident. "Shoes. Games. A car. Don't you want a new car?" I shrugged once again. I didn't really care for any of those things. Pepper rubbed his temples, clearly getting a headache. After some negotiating, he finally managed to convince me to agree on an expensive electric guitar as my gift. Why is it so difficult to settle on just one gift? You know what? I shouldn't have asked in the first place. I should have just surprised you, Pepper muttered, exasperated. Half an hour later, I walked all over the party and made small talks with the company employees and guests. The sight of me getting into my professional character thoroughly shocked my friends though. They thought I was faking it the whole time, in which they were not 100% wrong. As I was walking by the pool, suddenly I heard someone calling me. Phil waved his hand excitedly as he arrived with Claire, Jay, and Gloria. "Hey Ed. We're here." Gloria rushed over and hugged me apologetically. Ed. I'm so sorry I missed your show. Manny is with his father, so I have no idea how to watch it." Jay added, "Yeah kid. I'm sorry too." As Gloria was hugging me by pulling my head right into her chest, I replied with a muffled voice, "No. It's fine. It's really fine." Claire gave me her gift soon after. It was in a paper gift bag with ribbons on it. "Oh, thank you Claire," I said as I picked up the bag. "Open it now," she said excitedly. "Oh, okay," I replied and opened up the bag. Inside, there was a black hoodie, but it seemed a bit childish. Regardless, I smiled and said, "Thank you Claire. Do you like it?" "I thought really hard about what to give you," Claire muttered. However, I caught Phil holding himself back from saying something. Phil's commentary. Claire is the world's worst gift giver ever. I recommended her to get things Edward will enjoy, but all she cares about is getting him something warm for the fall. Claire's commentary. I'm really glad he likes the gift. He's been wearing a lot of thicker clothes these days, so I had a feeling that a hoodie would be a great choice. Commentary ends. Then, I saw my dad talking with Frankie and the rest of the ship's crew by the veranda where they could oversee the ocean. Despite being major alcoholics, none of the ship's crew brought a drink with them today as they knew my dad's condition. They toasted to my dad, who managed to fulfill the dream of every sailor in the world, to have a house next to the sea. While I was watching them, I suddenly heard a sneeze coming from behind me. Alex was holding the squirmish Vader in her hand and her face was becoming quite red because of it. I quickly took Vader away from her and said, "Why are you still holding her? You know you're allergic. She's trying to get out of the house, and I don't want her to run away." Alex replied while rubbing her sore nose. "Do you have your allergy meds?" I asked. "I forgot to bring it," she replied. "I think my mom has some in her purse." "Go get it then." I pointed to the direction of her mother. As I did that, I saw Haley getting admonished by Clara, presumably from the fact that she had skipped school today, and her mother found out about it. "I'm not getting near that." "Vader, hey wait, where do you want to go?" Vader was squirming in my arm, trying to get away, which surprised me since it was the first time she did that. She jumped from my arm and started running. I followed her quickly, and then I saw her pouncing a small white raven perching on the bushes near the garage. She pushed the bird down on the ground with her soft paw, holding it in place to prevent it from flying away. The bird cawed nervously as it looked into my direction, as if asking me to save her. Wait, I held Vader back with my right hand and picked up the bird with my other hand. The bird doesn't even fly away after he is released from Vader's grasp. It looked at me, and suddenly it talked. The bird talked. "Tonight," the white raven told me before flying away. I was too stunned to react, and when I snapped back, it was already gone. Meow? What the fuck? I exclaimed out loud, my voice reverberated all around. What's tonight? I muttered after I calmed down a bit. Then, I remembered my deal with Gongshin. Ah, the signal. I exclaimed in relief after figuring it out. The session will be held during a life or death related day. So what does October 27th have to do with that? I muttered in confusion. Is this another thing that has been erased from the world? I mean, even during Diwali last week there was no sign of the Afterlife Gacha session. I searched with Robin, and I didn't see any celebrations for tomorrow that could be related to me. Then, I shrugged and threw the matter to the back of my mind and rejoined the party. The party didn't go on for long as everyone started leaving around 8. Haley stood frustratedly in between her parents as Claire and Phil said their goodbyes to my dad. I walked towards them, making Haley's eyes lit up. Ed, can you tell my parents that although I was skipping school today, it was for a good thing? Haley requested. Yeah, Claire. Don't be mad at her. She really was helping out, I said to the parents. Phil smiled proudly as he turned to Haley and exclaimed, Ah. I wasn't mad at her for staying. I'm mad because she lied to me about going to school. Claire defended herself. I looked at Haley and shrugged. I tried. Ugh. Haley grunted while stomping her leg in frustration. She was grounded by her mother for 3 days as a punishment. I laughed and then she grabbed me and pulled me away from our parents for a while. Hey! I can't get grounded for 3 days. How am I going to plan the party if that happens? She whispered to me. What party? I asked, confused. The Halloween party. Here. She exclaimed in disbelief. I laughed and said, I'm just messing with you. Well, there is a way for you to get out of it though. What is it? She asked with expectations. I'm not going to tell you, for free. I replied teasingly. She gasped playfully, after all I had done for you? Alright, I owe it to you anyway. I said before I walked towards Phil and Claire again. However, I turned to my dad and said, Dad, do you remember our deal? My dad, Ted thought for a second before he widened his eyes in shock. Yeah. I remember. What deal? Phil asked with intrigue. I turned towards him and explained, Oh, nothing much. The deal is that I will tell my dad when I am going to go into a deep sleep again. You know, so that he won't panic and bring me to the hospital anymore. I really don't want to be on the news again. Claire became flustered and hurriedly said, Are you okay, Ed? Are you hurting anywhere? Can we do anything for you? Well, I don't really need anything, but my heart will be more at ease if, you don't ground Haley. Claire was taken aback, and Phil directly answered, Don't worry, Ed. She won't be grounded. Phil! Claire exclaimed in disbelief. And that's how Haley managed to get out of her punishment. Also how I got into mine. Around midnight, I was lying down on my bed shirtless, with a few heart monitoring devices connected to my chest and a brainwave machine scanning my head. Is this really necessary? I asked my dad in disbelief. Dr. Gray? I turned to Dr. Meredith Gray, who was smiling wryly next to my dad. It's necessary. You do this once, and I will never get worried about this thing, ever again. My dad said. I sighed before getting comfortable on the bed. All right then. Good night, Dad, Doctor. Good night, Ed. Dr. Gray said before turning off the lights for me. I activated my rest skill, and I fell asleep in less than 30 seconds. Chapter 230, 5th Gacha. Edward POV. Standing in front of the empty receptionist desk, I picked up the file with my name on it from the table and eagerly opened it. Edward Newgate. Affiliation, Senior Agent of the Afterlife Corps. Current status, singer/game maker/inventor/apps developer/chef/role model/government precious asset/influencer/world famous celebrity/Caltech aspirant/scientist. Positive karma, 1.123 billion, 5 million in storage. Negative karma, minus 52 million. Supervisor note: born with a kind heart and a thirst for stories, Edward has the potential to enter afterlife management after the death of his mortal body. Gong Shin. Wait. Senior Agent? I brought the piece of paper closer to my face, bewildered by my new affiliation. When did that happen? As I read the notes, I realized that I was promoted because my positive gacha values had crossed the threshold of 1 billion karmic points. 1 billion karmas? I froze as I read that line. What in the actual bleep? My surprise was abruptly interrupted when I realized I can't curse in here? A mischievous smirk spread across my face as I decided to test the censorship. Bleep, you, mother, bleep, bleep, unintelligible dolphin sound, sound of nature. I couldn't help but burst into laughter, thoroughly amused. That was awesome. They censored it based on the type of curse words. As no one was there to answer me, I turned to the next item of the file, which was a record of my talents and skills. I can finally know what happened, or at the very least, I can know what I have integrated in me. Sage mentioned before that I had done one session without me knowing about it. As I couldn't remember when did that happen, it must be that I had done it when I was really young. With a slightly nervous heart, I started reading my character panel, personal file. Born with perfect pitch talent / musical prodigy talent. Off Gacha. Purple Quality Gacha, Prodigy's Fate, Kusei Arima talent, shredded. Red Quality Gacha, Elderly Lady Magnet talent. Purple Quality Gacha, Joey Tribbiani, 3-month expiry date for relationship special talent. Red Quality Gacha, Joey Tribbiani, enjoy life by never finding the one true love, or getting married talent. Gold Quality Gacha, Radio Demon, all-around vocal range special skills. Negative Gacha O Paranormal Activity Magnet, destroyed by First Guardian. Gold Quality Gacha Ryuichi Kashima, Gakuen Babysitter, Special Gacha, Lucky Orphan. First Gacha. Purple Quality Gacha, Knowledge, Beth Harmon, Chess. White Quality Gacha, Leonard Hofstadter, IQ plus 30 Talent. Purple Quality Gacha, Memories, Haruma Yoichi, Football Training. Red Quality Gacha, Edna Mode, Fashion Talent. Gold Quality Gacha, Mei Hatsum, Machinery, Special Ability. Second Gacha. Red Quality Gacha, Yuri Katsuki, Dance Talent. Red Quality Gacha, Noah Cutler, DC Calculator, Skill, Algorithm Making Skill. Red Quality Gacha, Kim Seo Jun, Skill, Godly Massage Techniques Skill. Gold Quality Gacha, Vandalio, is Special Ability, Parallel Thoughts, Multitasking Ability, Special Ability. Gold Quality Gacha, Mike Ross, Special Ability, Eidetic Memory Special Ability. Third Gacha. Red Quality Gacha, Captain America, Enhanced Digestive System Special Ability. Top Gold Quality Gacha, Uilin, Rest Skill. Purple Quality Gacha, Kenji Harima, Animal Affinity, School Rumble, Special Ability. Gold Quality Gacha, Barney Stinson, Photogenic Poses, Himim, Skill. Purple Quality Gacha, Akira Hayama, Spice Handling, Food War, Skill. White Quality Gacha, Malcolm Reese, Chef Talent. Red Quality Gacha, Xia Shiyu, Business Management, I have a mansion in post-apocalypse, Knowledge. Gold Quality Gacha, DC Chameleon, Acting Skill. Red Quality Gacha, Batman, Anti-Recognizance Skill. Gold Quality Gacha, Lee Jinwoo, Golden Ratio Body Proportion, the novel's villain, talent. Gold Quality Gacha, Mermaid, Soul Voice, The Little Mermaid, special ability. White Quality Gacha, IQ increases by 20 IQ increase. White Quality Gacha, IQ increases by 10 IQ increase. Green Quality Gacha, Kakashi, fashionably late talent. Green Quality Gacha, Baby, Driving, Baby Driver, skill. Green Quality Gacha, Sakamoto-kun, prank-proof skill. White Quality Gacha, 7 language proficiency, English, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Mongolian, Korean, skill. Purple Quality Gacha, Sakamoto-kun, exactly on time special ability. Red Quality Gacha, Bruce Wayne, trained playboy character / making a character skill. Gold Quality Gacha, Lex Luthor, image management, knowledge. Green Quality Gacha, Kai Ling, school level education, Mass Effect. Year 2170, memory. Purple Quality Gacha, Kenichi, karate, first year, history strongest disciple, skill. White Quality Gacha, charisma increase. White Quality Gacha, charisma increase. Red Quality Gacha, Jiang Chen, mutated immune system, same as Xiaoxiyu. He's immune to everything from poison or any infectious diseases. Even deadly ones, special ability. Barely White Quality Gacha, God Usopp, Light of Truth, special ability. Fourth Gacha Draw. Purple Quality Consumable, Fire Immunity, Anatsu Dragnell. One-time use. Black Gold Quality Enhancement Soul Upgrade, one-time use. Purple Quality Gacha, Charisma of Wicked Wisdom, Talent A. James Moriarty. Purple Quality Gacha, Detective Skill, Shinichi Kudo, Detective Conan. Black Gold Quality Gacha, Koto Amatsukami, Distinguishing Heavenly God Illusion, Uchiha Shursui, one-time use. Green Quality Gacha Piloting Skill, Maverick. Purple Quality Gacha Dance Skill, Robert Alexander III / Moose, Step Up Movie. White Quality Gacha, AI Creation Memory, Tony Stark. White Quality Gacha Hairspray Hand, Aizen Sasuke. Black Gold Quality Gacha, Talent Shredder, Afterlife Corp. White Quality Gacha, One Piece Anime, until ending of Wano Arc, Memory, Inaki Gadoi. I stared blankly at the Oth Gacha part, unmoving, feeling stupefied. It was the first time in my life that I had been so completely absorbed. Time seemed to slip away as I remained in a daze. It wasn't until half an hour later that I was brought back to reality by the arrival of Gongshin, the Korean man who was guiding me for the day. He noticed my state and asked, "Are you okay?" His question snapped me out of my trance, and I slowly turned my head towards him. "Oh, it's you," I muttered with an ashen face. Gongshin sighed and said, "You're supposed to wait for me before you start reading." "I'm sorry. I was the one who's late." It's fine - I replied before I turned the pages towards him and asked while pointing at the section marked Oth Gacha. "Now that you're here, can you explain to me about this? I thought I had my first session at 14 years old, so how?" Mr. Shin nodded and he sat down at the seat in front of mine. "Let's see. The first one is honestly a mistake." "What do you mean?" I asked in confusion. Gongshin pulled the drawer next to him open and took out a few more files. He explained in a calm and steady manner, the first, or what we like to call here, the non-scheduled session, happened abruptly. We were all shocked when we saw a 1-year-old baby being dropped in the middle of a session. And to make matters worse, we couldn't prevent you from starting it. How? Aren't I just a baby?" I asked with confusion. Gongshin tilted his head and said tiredly, "You got dropped into a ball pit session. We did rush to prevent you from jumping into it, but even with those tiny feet of yours, none of our agents can become faster than you. You rushed into the ball pit, and your guardian had to pull you out of there." "Yeah, about that. I saw the word guardian here a lot." I asked. "Who are they? Are they like you, or like Sage?" "Actually, they are both. But rules dictate me from exposing their identity to you. So I cannot talk about that anymore," Gongshin replied. I looked at him with suspicion. wanting to argue that if there were really rules like that, then he wouldn't expose his presence as a supervisor to me before. After I got out of the ball pit, what happened? I asked curiously. At first, I wanted to freak out about the talents that I had integrated, but then I remembered the talent shredder existence. I just need to get that before starting a new relationship so that it won't end badly again. Oh, you got spanked, and then you cried. Gongshin said with a slight smile. I nodded and said, I got spanked and cried. I widened my eyes in disbelief and repeated, I got spanked and cried. Yeah, in front of everyone too. Gongshin added mischievously. I covered my face in embarrassment and said, I was a baby. That's child abuse. Hey, take the complaint to your guardian, not me. He replied dismissively. Then tell me who they are. I demanded. Gongshin shrugged and said, sorry. Can't break the rules. The vein in my forehead throbbed, and before I could say anything, Mr. Shin said, enough about that. You don't have a lot of time here. Why don't you ask something else, like, what benefits will you get when you become a senior agent? Ah. I was taken aback and then remembered that I was promoted. After he explained to me about the conditions of the promotions, he complimented me, it's barely impossible for an agent to become a senior member in just under a year. Most of them took at least 3 years. Even then, you still can't beat the guy who becomes a senior member in just a few hours. Wait. Seriously? Someone did that? Who? I asked curiously. Mr. Shin replied, I can't tell you his name, but I can tell you how he got that. I was thoroughly absorbed and asked, how did he do that? He replied, he was born, and that's it. Huh? I was confused. Mr. Shin smirked and added, born to become the sole heir of the Primarch. Wait. He became the son of the Emperor in Warhammer? I asked with excitement. Mr. Shin nodded in acknowledgement, making me exclaim in disbelief, whoa. Talk about a golden spoon. Can we continue? He asked. Sorry. Go on. I replied. There are a few benefits of becoming a senior member. First, once a year, you can request to get a specific talent, skills, memory, knowledge, or special ability of your choice. That includes consumables such as talent shredder, memory wiper, ability extraction, and other one-time use items. You do need to pay a corresponding price for those items. Some are priced cheaply, while others have exorbitant prices. I nodded as I listened to his explanations intently. Secondly, your karmic storage will be upgraded. Now you can store a maximum of 500 million points for future use. Third, you're entitled to a luck boost which you can use 3 times a year for your rolls. It'll allow you to get what you want more easily. Fourth, you can request to know the details of the prizes you have integrated. I see. I rubbed my chin and asked, how much do I need to pay to get a talent shredder? For a guaranteed result, 1 billion karmic points. I mulled the numbers for a while and then asked, this Ryuichi Kashima talent, can you tell me more about it? Gongshin flipped his file and he answered, lucky orphan. The description here said, after being orphaned at the age of 15, you will find refuge with several kind-hearted people that want to help you, and you will also receive a massive fortune in the future. Unintelligible dolphin noises, will I become an orphan in the future? I mean, the talent won't make it happen, right? I asked worriedly. Mr. Shin read the files for a few minutes while my heart was beating wildly for his answer. He finally replied, well, it doesn't mention it anywhere around here, but based on the people who have the same talent, there's a 30% chance it will happen. I was taken aback, and then I sighed heavily. I will buy the talent shredder and use it on the talent right now. Are you sure? He asked for confirmation. I looked at him with a determined expression and nodded. He acknowledged it and said, all right. He took out a piece of pen and crossed out the talent from my personnel file. I will mark it first, and I will remove the talent for you on your behalf. I sighed again as I looked at my personnel file. My focus went to the two worry-inducing talents. Purple Quality Gacha, Joey Tribbiani, 3-month expiry date for relationship special talent. Red Quality Gacha, Joey Tribbiani, enjoy life by never finding the one true love, or getting married talent. You know, a lot of people will enjoy that talent. Knowing what I was watching out for, Mr. Shin interrupted my focus. I know. I said dismissively. Not having any commitment and just living your life. But, it's not what I want. I replied with a heavy sigh. Mr. Shin nodded in understanding and then stood up. He walked to my side, patted my shoulder, and said, "Let's go. I'll lead you to the lottery room." Lottery? I muttered as I looked at him. Inside the empty room, there was a small Japanese lottery machine being set up. I just needed to pay the toll for using it, and rolled the device. The ball prize will come out through the hole. After minusing the negative karmas, I decided to roll 10 gachas today, and I used all 3 of my luck boost at the beginning. The first 2 didn't get me the prize that I wanted. Red Quality Gacha, a Doctor Strange, Medicine, Knowledge. Red Quality Gacha, a Koru Hazama, Emergency First Aid, Skill. Come on. Let there be something that can help my dad's kidney. I said as I rubbed my face in exhaustion before using the last luck boost and rolling the prize. A golden ball came out. I reached for it and read the inscription on the ball. Gold Quality Gacha, the Nameless Alchemist, 10 Alchemist Pill, Knowledge, log in 10,000 years into the future. Right now, I don't even know if this is a good thing or not. I muttered to myself. The prizes would be integrated after I returned, so I didn't know whether it would be helpful to me at the moment. I just rolled the other 5 gacha callously after that, and received a couple of interesting prizes. Green Quality Gacha, Jack Wilder, Sleight of Hand, Skill, Now You See Me. Purple Quality Gacha, Akira Hayama, Akuri Recipes, Knowledge. Green Quality, Kosugton, Tibetan Throat Singing, Skill. Red Quality, Wallace Corporation, Holographic Technology, Knowledge, Blade Runner 2049. Gold Quality, Shigeru Kosaka, Swordplay, Knowledge. Oh, it's a pity. It's only knowledge, not skill. I muttered. 2 more. I rolled the device again. A white ball came out as the prize. White Quality, MASH Burn Dead Bodybuilding, Memory. MASH? I think I know that guy. I rubbed my chin as I thought about it, but all I could imagine was something akin to a Harry Potter movie. The final roll came anticlimactically as I got. White Quality, Jose Hector, Friarin, Beyond Journey's End Season 1 Memory. Oh, a show again? Nice. I muttered in excitement. But even when I was done, I didn't receive any type of suction trying to pull me back to reality. Because my soul power was strengthened, I had more time here in the afterlife, therefore I was stuck there awkwardly. Now what should I do? I muttered as I scratched my cheek. With millions of karmic points and a maximum value of 666 points per roll, I needed to roll thousands of times if I wanted to empty my points and return early. How much longer? I muttered as I just rolled the device for fun. A golden ball came out, and I was surprised by what I had accidentally gotten. Ha! Gold Quality Special Consumables, Protection Spell, Siri, one-time use. I got a magic spell? That was nice. I smiled as I decided to roll it again. I was surprised when I got another great gacha. Black Gold Quality Gacha, a D Family, Talent, Trafalgar Law. Holy, nature noise, I held the back of my head as I exclaimed out loud. Does that mean I can have the D middle name too? I squealed in excitement for a while before I calmed myself down. Damn, I really am Edward D. in Newgate now. It's better than my true middle name though. The one that I won't tell to anyone. Ever. Who in their right mind would actually put Charmaine as their son's middle name? As I was grumbling, my hand subconsciously rolled the lottery device again. I couldn't help it, it was too fun to roll that thing. Red Quality Special Consumables, Protection Spell, Fern, one-time use. Another consumables? I became alarmed. It was safe to say that consumables were extremely hard to get, but I received it twice in one session? It made me wonder if the luck boost I used before allocated these consumables for me instead of giving me something to cure my dad's liver. I stopped myself from rolling the device again, and I muttered out loud, I need to get out of here now. Or who knows how many more times I will accidentally roll this thing. Suddenly I heard Gong Shin's voice in my mind, if you want to go out, just say out loud that you want to end the session. Ah. It was that easy. I muttered with disappointment to myself and then shouted to the room, I want to end the session. I could finally feel the suction force pulling me back to the real world, but my mischievous mind wanted to know what would happen if I decided to roll the gacha again while the space was pushing me out. Roll 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 special sound effect. A golden ball came out, and I could barely read it before I disappeared. General POV. While Edward was in his suspended animation, Ted didn't sleep and he looked closely at the heart monitoring machine, breathing in relief every time he saw a heartbeat line popping out on the screen. Dr. Gray asked him, are you going to stare at him the entire night? We have already confirmed that he's fine. You can go to sleep too. No. I'll keep watching. Ted replied while crossing his arms. Dr. Gray let out a sigh before she took a seat right beside Edward. It took less than 2 hours before Edward's heart rate returned to normal. Ah. So he wasn't lying. Ted exhaled deeply before sitting down right next to Edward. He smiled proudly as he looked at his son's face. Dr. Gray asked, should we wake him up? No. Let him continue sleeping. We can talk about it in the morning. Ted replied before turning to Dr. Gray and said, thank you, doctor. You can take your leave now. Meredith smiled and then as she read the charts, she looked up to Ted, and said, if you feel like it, maybe we can go get some coffee? Ted replied without looking at the doctor, never mind, I just drank coffee before this. Disappointed, Meredith exclaimed, oh. Ted finally remembered something and took out his phone, right. I promised them. In the Dunphys' house, Phil and Claire had stayed up late, waiting by their phone while sitting at the kitchen. Both of them were in their pajamas, and they had a worried look on their faces. How long will it take? I'm too anxious to even sit down. Phil said as he walked back and forth near the dining table. Ted promised us that he will text as soon as he wakes up. Claire replied as she pushed her glasses up and worked on her laptop. In the meantime, I suggest that you'd find something to distract yourself with. You're something I can distract myself with. Phil stopped walking, looked intently at Claire, and flirted. Should we go upstairs and figure out some ways we can pass the time? He said as he walked behind Claire and kissed her neck. Ah, Phil. Claire's breathing became heavier, and she said, we can't do that now. What if the text comes while we're upstairs? You're right. Phil muttered. Suddenly, the text came, surprising both of them. Claire picked up her phone quickly and she read the text, he's fine. Let's go, Phil. She grabbed Phil's arm as both of them ran to the bedroom. Haley, who was hiding and watching the whole thing, exclaimed in disgust, EW, 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 EW. She shook her hands before stealthily walking into the kitchen and reading the text. She was finally relieved, and then she grumbled, if he's staying close by, I could just go over there right now. I really should get that driver's license soon. That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha System in Modern Family World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. The series What If Transmigrated into One Piece and became a Marine will be going on hold soon, since we're nearly at the end of the story. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if creating the strongest Strawhat crew by reading manga? What if a venerated soul reincarnated in Danmachi world? What if transmigrated and taking over Ichigo's body? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.